back when we were doing it was like, this is some kind of pop gun offense, and this thing will never work in the league.
Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And that's the truth. With some cheese on it. Ain't no meatloaf between these thugs.
Welcome back. This is the Run and Shoot Podcast. I'm Ryan. I'm joined by Chuck. Chuck, let's jump right into what we got for today. Plenty of things to talk about. Where are we going to start?
Oh, man. Goodness. I mean, after the players decided they wanted to come back and play, we've got some NBA action that happened. Boy, and we've had some clinchers. We've had some, series still going on. Both LA teams, got their job done. They're moving on. As the LA Lakers shut out the Portland Trail Blazers 4-1 in that series.
That's right. Both LA teams, Chuck, waiting for the outcome of two Game 7s currently to find out who their semifinals matchup's going to be. Because we saw, just starting with the first matchup, OKC push the series with Houston to 7 games. Did you see that matchup the other night? 104-100 as far as the OKC win over Houston.
I'll tell you who I saw. I saw Chris Paul, man.
Chris Paul getting it done.
That stare down he gave old Harden, man, it's vintage Paul, man, just a competitor, man. What a showing for OKC.
He's showing he can still get it done, and he's probably, let's be honest, a little salty still after he got traded to OKC from the Houston Rockets as part of that deal there.
Absolutely.
This past offseason. But the game was really close, actually. The Thunder bounced back from a blowout in Game 5. And listen to this, because nobody apparently handles close games better than Chris Paul. He led the NBA this year with 150 points in clutch situations. Defined clutch situations as the last 5 minutes of a game in which the point differential 5 or fewer points. So he's clutch.
He's that good. I mean, he's always been like that his entire career. You go back to his time in New Orleans when they used to be the Hornets down there. He was the only thing going, and he won games that the Hornets shouldn't have won back then. Then he goes to L.A., had a lot of vintage moments with the Clippers. I mean,
and he should have went to the L.A. Lakers.
Ah, man,
that's still a bunch of
I
BS.
think that's one of the biggest league conspiracies that we've ever seen. It's incredible. There was nothing wrong with that trade. That stole maybe another ring or two from Kobe, man. I
think they could have competed for maybe one more at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's already got the rings. I mean, with adding Paul there, Paul would have got him a ring.
That's for sure. And speaking of CP3, he may be in Harden's head a bit in this matchup.
Yeah, it's just like I go to say, you can just see that stare down. I mean, Harden's a competitor too, but there is none like CP3.
Well, you saw in crunch time in that last matchup, Harden, he's at the top of the key, and he's like 30 feet from the basket, just kind of lackadaisical. He wants nothing to do with that possession. Lets Westbrook do his thing. He ends up losing the ball. Gallinari scores the go-ahead bucket on the other end. That pretty much sealed it. But we got Game 7 tomorrow night of this series, right? OKC and Houston. Is Harden going to step up?
He's going to have
to step off.
He's going to have to. If you want to go, I mean, this is what it's all about in Game 7. It's time to step up. It's win or go home, do or die. Because after this series, LA's going to be waiting. LA Lakers are going to be waiting for that opportunity. So either way, you're going to have to step up. So, yeah, Harden's going to have to be the guy. Harden's going to have to be that. He's going to have to be what CP3 is, a competitor, and really show what he can do on the court. I mean, the Houston Rockets have paid this guy so much dadgum money. At least you need to turn around and be that guy that they want you to be, that clutch, get you through Game 7 and get you to the playoff, and most importantly, can get you a golden ball in the process.
It's going to be a huge game.
Huge.
For Harden and the Rockets. Also huge for OKC, though. It's fun to see a Game 7 regardless. The winner of this one faces the Lakers in round 2. Moving over to the other matchup out west, Denver and Utah playing the Game 7.
This has been my favorite series. It's been so much fun.
And they play later tonight, so we're recording this before this matchup finishes.
I mean, I want to talk about Murray for a second. This dude has been another level, man. I mean, the Nuggets have needed this guy, and he's shown up. And, the 150-point game, I think it was like game 4, game 5. I mentioned it. I thought it was a pretty good duel between him and Mitchell. But he did it again. And he's in an elite company. He's with Jordan. He's with, Mitchell did it again too. But still, that's an elite company.
Yeah, Jamal Murray put up 50 on the Jazz. And Mitchell in that game, Donovan Mitchell put up 44 in a loss. Two of those young stars, though, that have really shown up in this matchup.
Man.
And this has been my favorite series of the bubble so far.
It's been fun, man. You don't know what to expect from these teams, man. They're just putting their gloves on, and it's pound per pound, fight for fight. You're fighting for every inch of that court, man. And
you got that right. And Mitchell, for Utah, he's averaging 38.7 points a game.
Wow.
To go with 4.3 rebounds and 5.5 assists a game. So he's doing everything he can out there. He also put up 250 burgers as the Jazz opened the series with a 3-1 lead. They've now let this thing come down to a Game 7. Murray, though, you talked about Murray. In the last 3 matches, he had 50 points on Sunday, 42 in Game 5 to get Denver back to even. He also had 50 points in Game 4. So he's averaging over the last 3 games in the playoffs, 47 points.
Ridiculous. That's hard jarring numbers right there. But it just goes back to what I said. This guy is doing there is no words to describe what he's doing, man. I mean, he's doing this on another level. I mean, this is what the playoffs are all about. Who's going to come out of the woodwork? Who's going to come out and just really just do well? I mean, not only he's doing eye-popping numbers, he is giving everything he has on this court. The last game they interview him, you can just tell the exhaustion of this guy. I mean, wow. That's all I got to say.
Average 47 points over a 3-game span in the NBA.
Incredible.
You're putting in some effort, that's for sure.
I mean,
and he's shooting at a high clip. He's getting it done. I'm excited to see this game tonight, as a matter of fact. So who do you think wins?
I don't know, man. I've been with Utah this entire time, but, man, if Murray continues the way they do, right now I'm 50-50.
Denver getting back in it, do you think they've used up too much gas as far as they got enough left to finish this off in Game 7?
You could tell Murray was exhausted last night. I mean, but it doesn't
Jokic
mean
step up enough to take a little off.
I mean, you're going to have I think that's where it's going to come down to. Whose bench is going to step up and really bring this home?
True. I think Denver's the better overall team, but we're really going to see. It's a tough pick either way. I would pick Denver if I had to, if I was betting on it.
Oh, it's crazy, man. I don't know, man. It's hard. I mean, like I said, I've stuck with Utah. But about games, last night's game made me realize, I'm like, holy crap, Denver is just wanting this a little bit more than Utah does.
That's right. And the prize of this Game 7, moving on to the next round to play the Clips in round 2. So that'll be a tough match.
2 of the top teams in the West right now waiting, both LA teams, and they're going to get some surefire opponents either way, man. This could be fun.
You got that right. And then when we look to the East, and you look at the matchup, just starting with the Heat beating the Bucks the other night. I didn't see that coming.
God, I did. It's just Jimmy Butler is finally found his team to finally where he can like push this team to the point to where they can compete. As you know, he's a high caliber, high competitive guy that may rub people the wrong way, but I think it's a perfect match for the Heat. And what did he have? I mean, I think he had like almost 40 points in this game in Game 1. And, man, had 14 of those in the fourth quarter.
That's clutch right there, too.
That's just showing, man, I mean, to me, that's just showing your cojones, like saying, hey, I'm coming to rip your freaking heart out.
Well, man, and he's got that killer mentality. We talked either the last episode or the episode before that about that little throwdown he had out there with the stars.
That's what I'm saying.
The young stars in Minnesota. His presence in that locker room for the Heat right now has to be so valuable to a team that's so young, other than Goran Dragic. And he added 27 in that matchup. But Bam Adebayo, this young kid is killing it. Listen to this stat line, right? You hope you started him in daily fantasy leagues. 12 points, but 17 rebounds and 6 assists.
And to me, those 17 rebounds are more important than them 12 points.
17 rebounds is phenomenal. I don't care who you are.
That's playoff basketball right there. That's going out there and getting the stat. I mean, it's not 12 points is not like, oh, well, but that 17.
That's a hustle
Incredible.
stat right there. You got to have
Hustle
your
stat.
timing, you got to box out, and you got to hustle. You got to get up there and get that
That's
ball
right.
at its highest point, right?
That's right.
And now in a losing effort for the Bucks in that game one, Chris Middleton, he did his part with 28 points. And Brook Lopez, 8 for 10 shooting, put up 24 points in that matchup.
I mean, two key guys right there had a good night.
Two guys that you wouldn't expect, though, to outscore Giannis. He had 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, so he just missed the triple-double. You can't really say that he had an off game, but you know where he was really off in this matchup? At the free throw line. At the his night at the stripe, the reigning MVP went 4 for 12.
You can't get it done. That's not going to get done. He had 3 points in the entire fourth quarter. You're an MVP. I've been saying this entire time that his supporting crew needs to step up. Well, they did. Middleton had a good game. Lopez had a good game. Bledsoe had a decent game. I think he had almost 10, 11 points. But these guys stepped up, but
You get 28 from Middleton and you get 8 for 10 shooting from Brook Lopez. You expect to win that game.
yeah, but I just think the Heat, man, I just got a feeling, man. It's just they're ready. Jimmy is just right there. Jimmy buckets.
They're
Jimmy,
playing good team basketball.
man, it's just like you said. I think Jimmy's found his team that is responding to him in a positive way, and they're accepting that, and this is making them a very dangerous basketball team.
You got that right, man. You got that right. Do you think so? I think it's anomaly. I think it's an anomaly as far as Giannis's free throw struggles. But do you think in crunch time the Heat may start hacking Giannis?
It's probably going to happen. I mean, we saw it a lot in game one.
And you can see free throw struggles for even the best players. Sometimes it can get in your head.
Yeah, I mean, I just see this. It looked like Giannis was like wounded mentally, man, because you could just tell he just when he was at the stripe. I mean, brick after brick after brick. I mean, you're the MVP. Act like it. You got to step up. I mean, you know the Heat are this team that has nothing to lose.
They're playing with house money.
They're playing with house money, and Butler, as highly competitive he is, Giannis needs to be. If you really want to truly be a champion, not just an MVP, a champion, you got to have that champion mentality.
Now, you're right. And I think that they're going to respond. Now, the Bucks, they were grazed in game one, right?
Yeah, but this should be a wake-up call.
The Heat
Should be.
grazed them. Are they going to be able to deliver a more fatal shot and eventually mount this 2020 Milwaukee team on their mantle?
I don't know, man. It's just usually about 2 or 3 we'll have a better idea how it's going to be.
For sure. I think we're going to have a more even matchup.
Because you look back at game one, the opening round against Orlando, people were already writing off the Bucks when they lost to Orlando. But I was like, Orlando had one of those series, like the 9 out of 10 games, they calmed the one game that they really played them well. But after that, like game 2 on, they dominated the Orlando. So we're really needing to see.
Just a team that kind of gets off to a slow start when it comes to series, but you don't always want to be playing from behind because
No,
you're
it's
going to
going
run
to
out
get
of energy
harder.
eventually.
It's going to get harder. To me, the Heat are way better than the Orlando Magic.
Yes.
Way better. So it's going to be key for them how they're going to respond. But right now, major momentum for the Heat, man.
That's right. We're going to find out more
Major.
after tomorrow's game 2. But then we look at the most recent matchup that we just saw before coming over here. We saw Boston just took game 2 over Toronto, and they took game 1 in that series, pretty much killing it with the corner threes.
They're murdering it right now. Murdering it.
I mean, and they continued that tonight. Smart down the stretch in the fourth quarter tonight was huge. But you look at that Boston-Toronto series, Boston's already up 2-0. Toronto had a lot of shots tonight to get back in it. They just couldn't seem to capitalize on it. They just feel like when they absolutely need a bucket, they don't have that go-to guy. I don't know that Lowry's always going to be that guy for you.
I don't think he is either. It's just Boston, man, they're deadly behind that arc, man. Especially, like you said, on the side. But they're showing a little more physicality than Toronto has. And to me, that's been Toronto's calling card this whole entire bubble and mostly in the playoffs. But I said whoever could be most physical in this series will win this series. And Boston has surely showed it.
For sure. You saw Jaylen Brown's defense down the stretch tonight, too. He showed, that he's a man that's here to play. And it looks like Boston's clicking on all cylinders. Even Kemba was looking really good tonight,
what a
too.
stud Jaylen is. What a stud. Especially on the defensive end. I mean, just lights out. It seemed like he got better and better and better, especially as the later game goes on. It goes back to what I said, clutch. What a defensive clutch moment there for Jaylen. And these guys, man, Boston, man, they're really hot. They're really good,
So
man.
listen to this. There's been 13 instances of a team making 10 or more corner threes in a game this season. 2 of those 13 have been Boston against Toronto in the Orlando bubble. So the Celtics were 10 for 15 from the corners back in August 7th during that seeding game win. And they were 10 for 15 from the corners again this past Sunday. Not exactly that hot from the corners tonight, but still no slump whatsoever when it comes to that. But the Raptors were 2 for 6 from the corners in that game. One outscored 30-6, specifically on corner threes alone. You can't win like that.
Boy, you can't. I think the defensive strategy going in for the Toronto, defend the corner.
Close out on shooters.
Close out on the corner. I mean, you would figure they would pick up by now, but I don't know, man. It's just like I said about Boston. They just got it, man. And they're doing this without Hayward. They're doing this without Hayward, and which, by the way, Hayward seems like he's on the upward trend on his rehab. Don't know if he's going to make it back, but still, they're still doing it without him. Impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. So, I don't know, man. I feel like I said Toronto this entire time, going to the finals. But, man, Boston's putting it out, man. I just don't know. I think it'd probably be Boston, and I still want to say Milwaukee because I feel like they're a team that rebounds really well. I think it'll go to 7.
You think so?
Between the Heat and...
We saw some great matchups already.
Well, I'm not going to write off Toronto yet, but you're down 2-0 already. Not good.
They're going to have to certainly scratch and claw their way back in this series.
Well, if there's a team that can do it, it's Toronto. They've done it this entire season. They're just a scrappy bunch of players that keep getting rolled off, and they love to go out and prove people wrong.
I hope they do. I hope to see a couple more games out of this series. I just like the way that
Absolutely.
these two teams match up as far as that goes.
Oh, man. Let's talk some baseball. We had some deadline trading action going on, man.
Man, some big-time trading action if you're the Padres.
Man, the Padres could be a good year for them, so I guess they decided to bulk up in the bullpen. As you know, they signed 29-year-old ace Mike Clevenger. Man, and if you don't know who that is, he was an ace of the Cleveland Indians, and which is always a team that has so many talent in the bullpen. And he got traded to the San Diego Padres. But, wow. What do you think of that, Ryan? I mean, that's a good move.
Yeah, I mean, 29-year-old ace Mike Clevenger traded from Cleveland, and it's a team that's loaded with pitching talent.
They
obviously,
always
right?
have. They're always loaded. Big time.
And then San Diego, a team full of sluggers. They needed that pitching talent. So here you go, a 9-player trade. You know, last month, Zach Plesac and Clevenger, they broke COVID-19 protocols and got sent to the team's alternate site for disciplinary reasons. Obviously, that incident may have helped Cleveland make the decision to get this trade done, but they've made it no secret that he's been available. So it's not a surprise to see him get moved, but he goes to the team that they're calling right now Slam Diego with the way that they're slugging the ball out there.
Well, their bats are hot, man. The bats are clicking.
But this is just one of many moves that the Padres have made. So in addition to this blockbuster deal, they've already, the Padres, acquired Trevin Rosenthal from the Royals, Jason Castro from the Angels, Mitch Moreland from the Red Sox, Austin Nola, Dan Altavilla, and Austin Adams from the Mariners. Not to mention, they've also acquired Taylor Williams from the Mariners. So 6 trades, including 24 different players for the Padres.
Good night, man.
As they're looking to make a playoff push, man. Look, hey, they're pushing all the chips to the middle of the table, and they're saying, look, let's go win us a title.
That's good. Yeah, let's go get it done. But I feel like the Braves would have made a play for Clevenger. They should have.
I wish they would have. Now, they did go out and get Tommy Malone.
All right. I mean, so, but he's no Clevenger, man.
That's true. I mean, we're going to see, but at least on the surface, it looks like the Clevenger deal would have been a little bit more appealing.
Well, I mean, like we lost Soroka earlier this year, man, and I just felt like he would have felt that void. And I feel like that's what the Braves need right now. They need that bullpen presence if they want to make a run come October.
Yeah, they didn't make a lot of moves, and they were expected to. There were a few names, though, swirling around the rumor mill that a lot of Braves fans I saw on social media were like, look, let's not even talk about getting rid of some of these guys. So I'm happy with the team that we have. We added Tommy Malone, so, we're hoping for big things out of him. Now, in addition to those moves, we had quite a few other ones. So just to name a few, the White Sox, they add Jared Dyson.
Okay.
The A's get Mike Minor, a former Brave there himself. The Blue Jays get lefty Robbie Ray to help out their pitching. The Marlins got Starling Marte, kind of been a surprise move there. They also sent Jonathan Villar to Toronto. The Cubs added Andrew Chafin and Josh Osich to the bullpen. They also added outfielder Cameron Maben. And then the Phillies, they go out and they get David Phelps.
Okay.
The Reds snagged outfielder Brian Goodwin and reliever Archie Bradley. The Mets, they also got in the mix a little bit. They got catcher Robinson Chirinos and infielder Todd Frazier from the Rangers.
All right. That's not a bad move there.
Yeah,
Frazier.
not a bad move.
Not a bad move.
Filling some voids. They also didn't stop there. They acquired reliever Miguel Castro.
Okay, that's a
from
good
the
one.
Orioles there too. So helping the bullpen, quite a bit with Miguel Castro coming in there, I think.
Yeah, the Mets. I mean, if you're the Braves, you're worried about the Mets, man. They made some quiet moves there with Castro and Frazier. Just them two alone, man. Those are quality professional players right there. And I just feel like the Mets are making moves, but the team you don't see is the Braves. Just one move. I don't get it, man. It's just that's crazy. It's crazy to me, man. And also the Rockies also snagged outfielder Kevin Pillar from Boston. So, pretty good move. But you realize, though, it's September 1st, and we're a mere 26 days away, a little under a month of the season being over. How crazy is that, Ryan? I feel like we just got baseball started.
Well, they are on that shortened season, and we're just taking it for what we can get out of it. It's been an exciting season.
As it's like you're not getting the buffet, you're just getting an appetizer.
They're hurrying you on through the buffet. They're like, all right, come on, put it on your plate while you can and get on out.
I know, man. It's just, I'm not as big as a baseball fan as I am a football fan, but I'm used to from like April to October baseball, at least watching highlights because I still like watching some stuff.
We got the playoffs to look forward to, right?
Now, let's hope they don't rush that. I feel like this has just been so rushed. And then you also got the postseason will start September 29th, so it's right around the corner.
We got a month of regular season baseball left, and then we're going to get, a little bit of a playoff baseball as the World Series so far scheduled to start October 20th. And, I mean, again, that doesn't seem like it's very far from now at all.
Man, I've never really took serious like if you blink, it's gone. I literally see that with baseball. You blink, we're in the World Series. It's crazy, man.
You're right about that.
In other news, a big-time loss when it comes to college basketball. John Thompson Jr., man. If you don't know who that is, he used to be a Georgetown coach. This guy was a legend. I mean, he coached some of the greatest Georgetown teams in the 80s, including with Patrick Ewing as his star player.
He was the first black coach to win a national men's college basketball championship.
Yeah.
Died at age 78. He led Georgetown's team to 24 consecutive postseason appearances while also maintaining a player graduation rate of 97%.
Now,
Seems unheard of, right?
That's balance. That's a balance attack if I've never heard of it.
That's
man.
demanding a lot out of your young men and helping those young men, turn into grown men.
That's what's so great about this guy. I watched something when Villanova beat Georgetown, but there was one part where they talked about John Thompson. John Thompson was like this military-style coach. Like, he looked beyond basketball. Basketball was more than just a game. It was a way of life. And he taught his players how to, look beyond basketball. And that's why you see these graduation rates at 97%. It just be able to focus on your education instead of just on the basketball court.
Well, and apparently he was huge for Allen Iverson, too.
Yes.
He had all kinds of great things to say about him, including this quote, "Thanks for saving my life, Coach," as far as Allen Iverson on the loss of John Thompson Jr. So, yeah, huge loss right there. In addition to another big loss, with Chadwick Boseman. Him passing away suddenly, that I don't think a lot of folks even realize what he was struggling with.
I knew he was sick, but I just didn't know how bad he was, man. All I got to say is 2020, go to hell for all I care, man. It's just been a horrible year. Like I said earlier to you, we lost Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba. Now we've lost the Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman. I really loved this guy. I loved his acting. There's actors, and then there's great actors, and he is in one of those categories.
Yeah, this guy was tremendous. This is a terrible loss as far as that goes. Apparently, so he was 43, diagnosed 4 years ago, but never actually revealed it publicly. So you know what that means? That he was fighting cancer while he filmed the Black Panther and the last two Avengers movies.
He did, and there was like one role, I think it was like called The Five Bloods on Netflix. They said he looked kind of frail, and like when he was shooting, there was people like criticizing him, like, "Why are you starving yourself? Why are you doing this to you?" But in all, he was sick. He was very, very sick. Stage 3 colon cancer.
Yep, that's it. Progressed to stage 4 too.
Yeah,
and it's too much for the human body to deal with.
That's heartbreaking, man. Because I really, like I said, a man that I've kind of respect on the big screen. The first time I ever watched him was 42, the Jackie Robinson story. And I thought he did great. He almost looked just like the guy.
He did. I happened to just flip onto that movie one night. When I watched it, I just got stuck. It was a great acting performance as far as that goes.
So good.
And, just a bad coincidence as far as Chadwick's death coincidentally coincided with Major League Baseball's Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah. That's eerie, man.
Eerie.
Man, it's just, I'm just blown away. I mean, yes, he does have the Black Panther role, but to me, 42 would be his greatest role. To me, it was, because that's when I got introduced to him, and I thought he did that movie justice very well. And yes, the Black Panther movie and the Avengers movies were great. I went and seen them, brought my kids to seeing them, and they absolutely loved his character. I did too. And, I don't know how good this is, but he had the most likes in the history of Twitter. It was like at almost a little over 7 million likes.
No, that's the tweet postpartum as far as announcing his death. I believe. Yeah, but most likes in Twitter history. I think the last record for that was something from Obama back in the day.
God, man, it's just, if you're making a movie of an actor, he needs to be made a movie. I mean, this kid came up from a poor area in South Carolina, and he became one of the most phenomenal actors probably in Hollywood history.
I'm sure there's a movie being written already, a few scripts going to be turned in, because that could be a box office smash there.
So rest in peace, John Thompson Jr., rest in peace, Black Panther Chadwick Boseman. Thank you for all that you've done for our society and for the little children that look up to you. God, man, it sucks. Also moving on, Brock Lesnar, the big bad man, the boogeyman.
What's he up to now? Where is he fighting? WWE, MMA?
He left the WWE. Did you hear that?
Oh, what's he doing now? Is he?
I don't know yet.
Is he going to fight Money Mayweather next? Is he the next guy?
Well,
Is the next pay-per-view guy going to fight
oh, wait a minute.
maybe Mike Tyson or
That's what I
something?
was about to say. Would you like to see Iron Mike versus Brock?
I don't know. Who do you think legitimately could square up with Brock in just like a cage fight, pay-per-view? Who do you think could do it?
Well, I mean, would you want a legend or just like a today fighter?
I don't know. Who do you think? What about him and John Bones Jones?
I
Bones
agree.
Jones would kill him, right?
I think Bones Jones would just
Let them do whatever drugs they want, steroids.
So pump them up.
Yeah, do whatever the hell you want. Let John Bones Jones come in there as coked up as he wants to be and just see who comes out alive.
This guy. Hell of a drug, huh? Stupid. That's gonna follow me for a long time, huh?
Well, I mean, they both regularly fail tests. So, I mean, what would we call this fight? The Battle of the Druggies?
Take them down to that UFC island and just let Dana White sell the shit out of some pay-per-view.
You know he would. You know that would put butts in the couch to watch the pay-per-view. I was going to say butts in the seats, but you ain't going to get that
and then
now.
bring in some other random matches. Like bring in that little bagel boss guy and the guy that shoved him down in that viral video. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that is
You're not
hilarious.
my father. You're not my boss. You know?
But I would
Celebrity
be,
deathmatch style.
I think we should do a boxing match between Iron Mike and Brock. I'm advertising that right now. Why not? I mean, I don't know. Who would win that one?
Mike Tyson hands down.
You think Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, would give the biggest
Brock
beating?
just can't handle those boxing skills. He's not trained like that.
Ooh, gosh, I don't know, man. But yeah, he's left the WWE. No, his whereabouts are kind of unknown. It's not known if he's going to the other wrestling brand known as All Elite Wrestling, AEW, that's played on TNT. Have you watched any of that? I've kind of peeped in and kind of see
Not
what's
really.
about. It's pretty cool to see Jim Ross on there. I'll say that. And but you know, it kind of there's really no gigantic big names other than like Chris Jericho to me. I mean, we grew up with that guy, but other than that, there are no really other big names that I mean, to me, where we grew up, we're used to The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Absolutely.
Ric Flair, just them guys.
D-Generation X.
D-Generation X. Oh, you didn't know? I love that. You cannot beat that.
The Road Dogg.
Jesse James. Gosh. But yeah, it's just I don't know what he's gonna do. I'm kind of interested to see where he goes. All right, let's talk some college football. As you know, the Big Ten has remained to cancel their season. They did a vote with all 14 university presidents. 11-3, they voted to continue to close out the season, but they're eyeing a possible return on Thanksgiving. Why?
Sounds like a dumb idea. I don't know. Did you see what
man?
Paul Feinbaum had to say the other day? He said that the Big Ten is the laughing stock of college football, which is strong words coming from Paul Feinbaum, who was just recently praising the Big Ten.
Well, I mean, as far as this situation goes, I think they're a laughing stock.
For sure.
They're panicking.
His
It's
quote,
panic.
listen to his quote. Quite frankly, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you start that late, you're really at a tremendous disadvantage.
Exactly.
I know they're talking about playing in domes and indoor stadiums. Once you get past the holidays, the interest in your better players participating is going to go down dramatically. Your upperclassmen, those who are going to the NFL. What do you think about that, Chuck?
I think he's right on point. I mean, it's just, for freaking crying out loud, I mean, I think you should play. To me, you should play. I mean, you can see the SEC's making it work. Yes, there's positive tests, but it's going to happen wherever you go. But to me, I think we're putting a good hold on it. I mean, we're not doing the greatest work, but the Big Ten is just like, have you seen the Jerry Maguire meme of, in the scene where Jerry Maguire gets up, leaves the office, who's coming with me? Who's coming with me? And they put the Big Ten logo over Jerry Maguire's head, and you see like these other people kind of laughing at him. It's like ACC, SEC, all these other teams, and you can see him, who's coming with me? Who's with me? And they're all just sitting there laughing as he's walking out by his lonesome. To me, that's where we're at. The other leagues are just dying laughing. You got Nebraska that's putting in a lawsuit. There's like 9 players that are suing the Big Ten.
They want to play football.
They want to play football. And that's what I'm saying. Let them play. For freaking crying out loud. If you don't want to play, opt out. For example, LSU's losing players left and right, by the way. Probably their biggest loss is Jamar Chase. If you don't know who that is, Jamar Chase is a wide receiver of the former national champion LSU Tigers. He was the only returning starter.
Won the Biletnikoff Award last year.
Oh, he was phenomenal. He almost had 2,000 yards receiving and an offense that was just a pure juggernaut. And he's opting out to go focus on the draft.
Well, he's currently projected as the number 1 ranked wide receiver for the 2021 NFL Draft. As a true freshman at LSU, he played in all 13 games, made 7 starts as a freshman, and he finished his freshman year with 23 receptions for 313 yards, 3 touchdowns. But he really made his presence felt last year. He returned as a starter in 2019. He led the FBS in receiving yards with 1,780 receiving yards on 84 catches.
Redonkulous. That's crazy.
That's tremendous. He
That's
also
awesome.
had 20 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, but it's like I said, that LSU offense was the perfect storm. They had 2 or 3 receivers that were easily first-round picks.
Yeah, Joe Burrow tossing him the ball.
God,
that helps a little bit, airing that ball out.
And then and not to mention the staff that they had, that offensive staff, incredible. There were pro staffers there.
Regardless, though, you don't just pull 1,780 yards out of your ass. That is a tremendous season.
Putting in work.
Jamar Chase is going to be a top 5 pick coming into next year. I see no reason that he should play, even though he was vocal on social media about wanting to play before we knew for sure that the SEC was going to play a season. But now, I guess, talking with the family and everything else, he's just made it a good decision to probably sit the season out. Do you think, though, this is going to have a ripple effect? Are you going to see more of this?
I think we will as the season goes on. We're going to let's watch week 1 when the season starts. Then we'll start to know if we start seeing more players do it. Because I think they want to know, I mean, as a player, if I was a player, I would want to know how the season goes, how you're handling COVID during the games, or how you handling the fan situation. Let's say 10 of my teammates after week 1 get COVID. Maybe it is time for me to start focusing on my future. If I'm a first-round pick, yeah, I mean, we're going to see more as we go on. I mean, it's just depending what we're going to see in week 1. Very depending. So, 13 years ago, do you know what happened today?
What's that?
The App State upset over Michigan.
Oh, wow.
13 years ago. Man, I felt like, it's that game was, I mean, we talked about it before because it was on Bracket Busters originally, but that game stands out as the craziest ripple effect game I've ever seen. It sent shockwaves.
Yeah. I mean, and put App State on the map.
Put App State on the map and put all FBS schools on the map after that. And we always consider the FBS schools gimme wins. And, paying somebody, $1 million to take a butt whooping.
Hey, speaking of FBS games, though, that's one of the first games we're going to get this year. UAB against Central Arkansas on ESPN3 coming up Thursday night at 8 p.m.
Oh, wait a minute. There was another game that played. Austin Peay played.
Okay, yeah.
That is right. I forgot about that. I meant to mention that. There was like one guy that had like 200 yards on the ground. I forget his name. But an OVC team came out and played the first college football game of the season last week.
Well, yeah. Well, now you've got, as far as what we've got upcoming, UAB Central Arkansas, also Southern Miss meets South Alabama.
Nice.
Then we've got MTSU going to be taking on Army, and
Ooh,
yeah,
that's interesting. I think we'll win that one. I think they'll win that one. I mean, just stop the running game.
I mean, Army opened up last year 27th in the AP poll. Push number 7 Michigan to overtime. It looks like they could be in for a big year, and then they finished 5-8. So we'll see how they're looking Week 1 against MTSU this season. Also got Texas State, SMU coming up, Memphis, Arkansas State, Navy, BYU. So that's probably the biggest first matchup that we have upcoming as far as that one's on September 7th. What we're really looking forward to, though, the SEC football schedule. Week 1 kicks off September 26th. Chuck, let's take a quick look at the matchups as far as just from the SEC side. Make quick predictions as we run through them, even though we've talked about that a little bit already.
We'll do a quick one.
So Alabama at Missouri, week 1. Do we both agree Alabama's probably heavily favored, probably going to roll through that one?
Well, they're already down. Missouri's already down 21-0 out. While Alabama's still waiting on the bus for them. So, yeah, a blowout win.
You might be right.
Yes.
Georgia at Arkansas. This will be the first test here, I guess. We'll see what Franks has coming out of Arkansas, but I think Georgia should be able to take care of business week 1.
Absolutely. I think they'll just blow over Arkansas, man. Feel bad for them guys, man.
Kentucky at Auburn.
Interesting game. I think Stoops could, really give Auburn trouble, but I think Auburn has enough firepower to get through.
I agree with you. What about Florida at Ole Miss?
Lane Train.
Florida playing the Lane Train. His first game as a head coach in the SEC.
What a way to start for Kiffin.
His first game as a head coach back in the SEC. Correction.
But it's just it'll be interesting to see how he motivates his team to play a top 5, top 10 team. Same thing with Kentucky and Auburn. I think Ole Miss might come out with it being in Oxford. But I think Florida just has too much talent and depth.
I agree with you. I think Florida has to be a little bit scared going into that one, knowing the excitement Lane Kiffin can bring to that team. And Ole Miss is no pushover. Any SEC team has talent.
Absolutely.
So we'll see the first test week 1 for Florida at Ole Miss. I expect them to roll, but, that's why they play the games, right? Mississippi State at LSU. This is going to be Leach's first game in the SEC.
Trap game. I'm going to call the first upset. I think Mississippi State pulls it.
You think they could beat LSU?
Well, with all the things that going on, like we just talked about, Jamar Chase is out. There's been 2 or 3 more, I can't think, that have left as well. And you've got this team that's just won a national title, lost
coming
everybody.
Off the high of winning a national title.
And you got a guy coming in to Starksville, man. That is just wheeling deal. He's kind of like the Ric Flair of SEC. He's
you think he's crazy enough to come up with just the right game plan to get it done?
You know what? I'm going to say an upset here. Mississippi State by a touchdown.
I don't know if I can agree with you, but that'd be exciting to see for sure. What about Tennessee at South Carolina?
Tough game. It's going to be a tough game. With it being in Columbia, I think we'll still get it done. We've got enough running backs. I think we'll grind it out. Our defense is back. We'll beat Will Muschamp again in Columbia.
I don't see it happening. You've only beat him once, and that happened last year. Not going to beat South Carolina. I don't believe week 1. Vanderbilt at Texas A&M.
Interesting game, but I think it'll be a rout.
Vanderbilt's going to get killed.
Bad. But to me, the most interesting game is Mississippi State and LSU.
For sure. What about this game? So, are you willing to pay $54.99 for a pay-per-view to watch the season opener, Oklahoma against Missouri State? Can you believe this? Longhorns are going to have theirs on the Longhorn Network, but Oklahoma has a pay-per-view you can order, $54.99 to watch their season opener against Missouri State.
I think my brain just farted or I just hallucinated. Are you freaking kidding me? $54.99 for a blow.
I don't know how that's distributed to their fans and alumni and the folks on campus as far as who is on campus there in Oklahoma. But, yeah, $54.99 if you want to watch them on pay-per-view.
Well, first of all, Oklahoma, what have you done lately? Have you won any national championships lately?
And they've been in the mix, but that matchup specifically, Missouri
by
State.
meaning in the mix, they've been in the mixing bowl, and every team they played in the playoffs has smoked them. Not only beat them, smoked them. So you think I'm going to spend my hard-earned money to watch your trash game? No, thank you. Boomer sooner that. Get the heck out of town. I ain't watching that.
I'm not paying for no Oklahoma pay-per-view, that's for sure.
Bums, blowjob bums.
Let's get on to some NFL news, Chuck.
Oh, Lord, we've had a ton.
lot of things happening just today and the last couple days.
I think we just need to call this the Jaguars headlines because it's just been nothing but Jaguars.
They've been jagging off down there in Jacksonville again. Yannick Ngakoue, I do not know if I'm pronouncing that right, and I should have fact-checked it, but he's traded to the Vikings. The Jags got a second rounder and a conditional out of that.
Oh, what a get for the Vikings because I wanted him, but I knew the Jags weren't going to trade inside the division. But the Vikings get a very solid, underrated pass rusher. This guy has almost averaged 10 sacks a season. It's crazy. Why would you want to give up this guy? But I just think we're realizing that this team is ready to just tank it.
Well, that's quite obvious by them cutting Leonard Fournette as well. Star running back for the team. They claim that they've not been able to get anything for him in a trade, so they went ahead and cut him. It just seems crazy that they couldn't get a late-round pick. But where do you think Leonard Fournette now lands as a free agent?
I think there's plenty of hungry playoff teams that need one. Kansas City Chiefs need one. As you know, they lost Williams. Williams opt out. We don't know if the rookie would do well, even though I've been high on the rookie. But maybe Leonard Fournette comes in and adds in that veteran presence behind him. I think a dark horse team, the Washington football team.
The Washington football team?
They need a running back, a solid running back. And think about this. I think this would work out really well. If Fournette goes, you're playing with a great all-pro in Adrian Peterson. Be able to learn from that guy.
It doesn't seem like the most ideal destination if you're Leonard Fournette. Now, I don't think some of these other ones do. I think the most sense is as far as Chicago.
It's already crowded back there. I mean, you've already got Montgomery, Cohen.
They've had some injuries happen back there too now.
Well, yeah, Montgomery had a pretty
and they're not the same
pull.
Running back as Leonard Fournette, a bruiser, a guy that in cold weather games for Chicago could come up huge.
I mean, I just don't get it. Why? I mean, why just release this guy? I mean, but it just goes back to what I said. It's evident that we're seeing a tank job.
Jacksonville's just throwing all the money overboard, and I think in a couple years we're going to see them move to London.
It's a possibility. Here's a rumor. I read something on ESPN, and it makes a whole lot of sense. We're going to keep with the Jags train here, the train wreck, if you want to call it that. There has been rumors that, as you know, Trevor Lawrence is probably going to be the number 1 overall pick, and it's going to be a race between probably the Washington football team and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, the Jaguars are making a pretty dadgum hard effort to get there. Now, there's been rumors that Dabo Swinney is being eyed for the head coaching gig. What do you think about that?
If you're Dabo Swinney, why would you leave Clemson to go coach the Jaguars of all teams?
Well, I mean,
I don't think he could get a more attractive job.
Well, it's happened before. Let's go back to about 96. Let's go about 97, 98. It's when Steve Spurrier left Florida. They drafted Danny Werfel, his former.
I see where you're going with this.
So I mean,
you think they're going to be able to get Trevor Lawrence maybe with the number 1 pick, bring in Dabo Swinney so he can continue coaching up his guy and roll on with that. Maybe give him full control. If Dabo Swinney takes that job, he's not doing it unless he can build that his style, like a Chip Kelly type contract, I'd imagine, where he's going to get some front office control where he can build his roster.
I mean, if I'm Dabo Swinney, that's my condition.
That's the only way I would consider it.
Well, I mean, look at John Gruden. That's the way he is. He's got front office control. I mean, him and
10-year contract.
I mean, Maylock. I mean, it's obvious the GM, but we all know who's really the power behind the throne.
Yeah,
it's Gruden. So, I mean, if I'm Dabo, I'm the same way. But
if I'm Dabo, I think I can get a better, more attractive job somewhere else in the NFL.
But
otherwise, I'm staying at Clemson. Clemson's a pretty sweet place.
I was about to say, he's got a great thing going at Clemson. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying he could go to Bama when Saban retires because he's an alma mater is at Bama. Why leave Clemson and just continue to build that power?
Clemson's a powerhouse, and not to mention the campus is beautiful.
Oh, I absolutely love Clemson. I mean,
you're right on the lake. It's a hell of a party school. Not that Dabo is probably out there beer funneling or anything, but
is not big, but it's super, super
It's
loud.
pretty big, man. It's a nice campus.
I think it's like 70, 80,000. I mean, compared to one of the most biggest ones, it's not compared to be the biggest.
Well, you got the hill that takes up quite a bit.
That's
of
pretty
seats.
cool. The Rock,
Yeah.
Howard's Rock, that's pretty cool. But I think that's all just speculation. Hey, if we can get Trevor, we can get Dabu. But I don't think Dabu is not even wasting time looking that way.
Feel you there.
But just to close out the Jaguars headlines there, because we all know that team is heading for probably an 0-16 season. I called it.
Oh,
I
man.
think.
I almost feel bad for Gardner Minshew.
I mean, the dude. I mean, I love the guy. Gardner
He seems
Minshew.
like a funny guy,
Well-
I like what he brings to the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
As
do
an
too.
undrafted guy too. But
Hey, maybe
I don't know.
Maybe
Who's he throwing the ball to, man? D.D. Westbrook and
That's
and who?
it. And then his running back behind him will be Armstead, a second-rate running back. And then you got Chris Thompson, who was formerly with Washington. That's not any better.
Yikes!
Not trying to bash these dudes, but this team is a bunch of scrubs.
I agree.
And Gardner Minshew, if you get cut with the Jaguars, just come up to Tennessee. We'd love to have you as a backup role, man. We'd love to have you.
Now moving on out to Seattle, they brought back wide receiver Paul Richardson recently. I think that's a bigger move than people realize.
I agree. I mean, it's huge. I mean, you got to bulk up that depth. We all know that Metcalf and Lockett's going to be probably the headliners there, but it's good to have that depth.
Right. Well, the money that they had to make work with Baldwin, when Baldwin was still with Seattle, him, Lockett, and with Paul Richardson. Richardson was the odd man out. He ended up signing a big deal with Washington. Now he comes back, though, to the team that drafted him. And you saw the last couple seasons in Seattle, him and Russell Westbrook were on the same page. It's a
That
nice
chemistry
little
was
deep threat.
there. And that chemistry was there, but he made one of the ridiculous catches in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. Is when I forget which Super Bowl it was, but it was the one that he should have ran the ball at the 1-yard line, and Russell Westbrook throws the pick. But before
Ricardo Lockett was his target.
yeah, and
The worst play in sports, period.
Oh,
the history of
man.
sports, the worst play call
I
ever.
think that was the single play that imploded that team because Richard Sherman still says that is the most unforgivable.
You remember the little video of the kid in the back seat after he had the operation at the dentist, and he's like, "Is this real life?" That's exactly how I felt watching that. Like I was just like, I kept replaying it in my head. I was like, "Did that really just happen?"
Oh my gosh! I mean, you had the beast mode having 5 yards of carry, and you're at the 3. Do the math. Feed the beast.
It made too much sense to just hand the ball off. He
And
had to get too fancy with it. He tried to out Belichick, and it backfired.
the Pete Carroll's look at that after that, he's just like, his eyes were big, chewing that gum, wide mouth open, just like, I screwed up.
Yeah, you did.
I screwed up. But let's move on to some more news. A lot of Titans fans I've talked to really want Logan Ryan back, but that's not going to happen, man. He's going to the Giants.
Yep, the New York Giants signed cornerback Logan Ryan, a player who's missed a total of 3 games in 7 seasons. You remember he had the game-sealing pick 6 against the Patriots in the playoffs last season.
Ended that era, Tom Brady era up there, man. That was awesome. But what a presence he brings that he's going to bring to the Giants, man. I'm really rooting for this guy. I mean, he did a spectacular job when he played for us. I mean, during the playoff run especially. Am I bummed that he signed with the team? Yeah, because I was hoping we maybe come around and give him like a hometown deal to get him come back. But, in the end, business is business, and he found the best deal with the Giants.
I agree, yeah. I mean, he stayed on the free agency wire for a while. The Giants came calling, and I think they got a good bargain there for a good veteran corner. I really liked what Logan Ryan brought to our team.
I think it was a 1-year deal, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But he's in his early 30s, still got left in the tank. It could benefit the Giants. We'll see.
Yeah, also you saw, the Chiefs hooked up some contract extensions through 2025 for Coach Andy Reid and General Manager Brett Veach. And the thing about Veach, So both of those guys joined the Chiefs in 2013. Veach started out on that coaching staff, though, as a scout. He was promoted to GM in 2017. So what a come up.
Well,
right?
it's like J-Rob. His come up was the same way. He was a scout, and then he became like a vice president of the scouting.
You have to appreciate that, right? Somebody that works their way up from the bottom, gets in there, gets their hands dirty, and shows everybody, how to get things done. And it's like they understand all the positions on their way up, I think, a little bit better that way.
And Veach was one of the biggest scouters out there that was so high on Patrick Mahomes.
He's done a pretty good job the last couple of years.
I mean, talk about knowing what you're talking about, Mel Kiper. This guy knows a lot more than you.
Right. And just before we came here today, too, I just saw that Alvin Kamara. What about this? That the team has said that they could be open to trading him as he's holding out right now for a contract extension. Apparently, they're fighting over like $2 million.
God, as the world turns, doesn't it, Ryan? I mean, just when you think the worlds of the Saints is all good, you got the backfield set and you're going to have that one
They just
player.
gave Taysom Hill, though, a shitload of money to be like a third-string quarterback / like offensive weapon.
An X-Factor player,
But just pay Alvin Kamara. The guy has produced for you way more than I thought he ever would coming out of UT. Like, he was a pretty good player, but he's really taken off since he got into the NFL.
I would love a player like that on my team. So versatile.
They said they're open to trading him. Do you think that the Saints will actually trade Alvin Kamara?
No. It's just the smoke and mirrors. Just like seeing who's going to budge first in this contract dispute.
Well, Kamara and his people said that they thought that they were still in negotiations. I don't think that they've not demanded a trade or anything as far as we know, but there's something going on there.
Get over yourself. I mean, come on, for crying out loud. I think this is on both sides here. I'm not pointing one finger to the other. To me, I'm more like the lunch pail guy. I'm going to show up regardless, whether I'm getting paid or not. But you realize, I'm looking at the organization now, you realize this guy's value. You realize this guy has been the pulse of your offense. Yes, Michael Thomas has been great. Yes, Drew Brees is still playing. But to me, Alvin Kamara's been that pulse that's made that offense go.
He's been a nice option coming out of the backfield.
Oh, man,
wherever they've lined him up.
Catched out of the backfield, can run, and he's
So you think that
strong.
they're going to get something done with him? You think they figured this out?
You have to get something done.
If he goes elsewhere, if they trade him, where do you think he goes? Just if you had to predict somewhere.
L.A. Rams.
I was going to say the same exact thing.
L.A. Rams.
As much as they want to throw the ball around, he's the perfect guy.
He's Gurley 2.0, man.
Run and gun offense.
It's perfect. That's the perfect storm to be in. It's being in a McVay offense that is so running back friendly, whether catching or running the ball.
What do you think? New England could be a player there too?
No.
You don't think? I think that's a long shot too. But sometimes they can step out and surprise some folks.
It could be.
If it's somebody that Belichick likes, you know what? He's going to go out there and maybe go for it.
Here's one: Tampa Bay Bucks.
Okay.
I think
that would be
foolish.
intriguing.
I think it'd be foolish to trade with a divisional rival like that.
Yeah, that's a tough one to see happening. But you know what? Who doesn't want to go down there and play with Tom Brady and the Bucks the next season?
Oh man, I know. But did you hear about Ryan Suckup?
What happened with Ryan Suckup?
He signed up with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Man, he's a kicker.
So he just jumped on that train, huh?
God, old Suckup, man. And also, I saw this before coming in. Joe Mixon got an extension.
Saw that. Yeah, they paid him.
Yeah, I mean,
hits the hole pretty hard. Also, remember he had that video where he clocked that poor lady in that restaurant back in his college days in Oklahoma.
Yeah, man. Just
you know what though? I don't want to be negative about it. I'm glad that we've not seen him in any other bad publicity since then. He's a hell of a football player.
People make mistakes,
and he's getting to play with Joe Burrow now. He's going to be huge for his.
He's going to be the New Orleans. Take notes here. Bengals saw some potential in Mixon. They paid him.
And if they're paying Mixon, I'm sure as hell paying Kamara.
You got to.
You saw the Titans drug their feet, but they finally gave Henry a contract.
I think that was long overdue. They had to get that done.
For sure.
They had to get that done. But
now, also, I saw the Titans worked out Gostkowski, potentially
like
looking
that.
to bring him in. I always liked him in New England, so I hope that he's good enough to make the roster, honestly.
Well, yeah, it could be. But did you hear Will Compton got signed?
I saw that.
The Wolf got signed.
Yeah, it's a solid little third-string linebacker.
Yeah, and plus, Lawan's loving every bit of that because he got his little buddy back.
Yes, I'm glad to see that bromance go
The
on.
bromance. But did you hear? And also, just one quick one. Nagy, the Bears coach, has said we'll name the starter for the quarterback position. Who's going to start for the Chicago Bears? Is it going to be Trubisky or Nick Foles?
It's going to be Trubisky. I think Trubisky's going to rebound this year. I thought he looked terrible last season. But you remember his rookie year, he actually looked pretty damn good. But the problem, he doesn't exactly have big-time targets to throw to. There's no Muhammad Massaquoi out there for him to throw the ball to, right?
Exactly. But, hey, they have so many dadgum tight ends, they can build their own tight end offensive line, man. I think they have like 5.
No
man.
Greg Olson's coming out of the woodworks to play for Chicago up
Jimmy
there.
G and
washed up Jimmy G.
Washed
a
out
little
Jimmy
bit.
G is probably the biggest one they got. And then you got Allen Robinson's maybe the only
It's the best
thing.
target he has.
That's the best one he's got, and you've got a muddled backfield a little bit. Offensive line's kind of in a disarray. Just a little messed up situation, especially with the background of Nagy has of having a good offensive system when he was with the Chiefs.
Yeah, but I don't think you're excited as a Chicago fan or as a
No.
Chicago coach rolling out with Nick Folk week 1. He's a solid backup, but I think Trubisky has a long leash when it comes to the starting job, at least for the first couple weeks.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Foles gets it.
You think he gets it?
But it's going to be like kind of like we'll give the veteran a chance. Then if he doesn't do well, then we'll go back to Trubisky. Because Trubisky, to me, he's gone to the pass of point of no return. I think the Bears are going to let him ride out and just let him walk. Got to. I just think Foles is going to do it. All right, Ryan, let's hop right into Bracket Busters, man. We had a good poll. I think we had like 35, 40 people voted, man. So, I mean, the following's coming, man. The following's looking good. This week, we've got round 2. We only have 4 games in round 2. First game on the slate for Bracket Busters for most memorable football games of all time. Super Bowl 43 versus the 08 Texas Tech game. At first I was like, oh, it's Super Bowl 43, but the 08 Texas Tech game was a fun game, too, to watch. So, what do you think of that matchup, Brother Ryan?
I think Texas Tech, probably just because I remember being out of my seat for a game that I didn't have a dog in the fight for. It was just a crazy finish, and one of those where you're like, oh no, he should have stepped out of, oh my, okay, he's in the end zone. Crabtree in the end zone. What a play.
At first, I was just like, he's out of bounds. Gotta be. And then he scoots on into the end zone. You look at Super Bowl 43. That was an incredible game because, the helmet catch. I don't know, both great games.
I think Super Bowl 43. You know what? Super Bowl 43, a lot more at stake. And when you look at just the way it unfolded, man, just it gives you cardiac issues almost watching that live, right?
Right. That's why I'm going to sway to Super Bowl 43. Just too much at stake. Robbed Randy Moss of his Super Bowl ring that he wanted so bad.
An undefeated season there.
Gone. There was just so much history on the line.
I agree. What did the polls say?
64% for Super Bowl 43.
Not a surprise.
Not a surprise. So I guess we can move on to say that Super Bowl 43 is moving on to the Final Four.
Moving on in.
All right.
Final Four.
Cool. So let's move on to the next one. Music City Miracle versus the 2018 National Championship game between Bama and Georgia.
Music City Miracle, hands down.
There's no conversation here, isn't it? But the polls say as well, Music City Miracle, 61%. As great as 18 was, it was a fun game, Tua game. That was Tua's coming out party.
Bama, Georgia, yada, yada, yada. Music City Miracle moves on.
Yeah, there's no debate. Music City Miracle, clean sweep. They move on to the Final Four. So here comes a toughie. This one, the 07 Fiesta Bowl, of course, Boise State and Oklahoma versus Super Bowl 34, the 1 yard short game. This was a little tough in the polls. This was a lot closer than you think. I'll go ahead and tell the polls. 52% to 48% the Fiesta Bowl.
Wow.
This is
So memorable as far as, in my mind, both of these rank high up there.
right. This is a good matchup as far as like memorable games.
For sure. As a Titans fan, Super Bowl 34, though, I mean, it's tough
But
to outrank that. But that 07 Fiesta Bowl, just the way that went down with the trick
Oh, it was
plays and
nuts.
everything, how do you forget that? But my vote would usually be for Super Bowl 34 here. Which way are you going?
I got to think about this because
Are you going with the polls? You're the tiebreaker here, Chuck.
I'm going to go with the Fiesta Bowl. I got to go with the Fiesta Bowl
Fiesta Bowl moves on.
because I remember, like you said, the plays alone in it are one of a kind that you would think that would never be pulled out of a playbook actually worked and actually won the game. So, yes. Fiesta Bowl 2007 with Boise State and Oklahoma moves on to the Final Four. The last game, which is going to be a blowout, I feel. This one's the 06 Rose Bowl, which is Texas and USC versus the 06 Week 13 game between Tennessee and Indianapolis.
This is like a 1 seed against a 4 seed or something. And
Yeah.
the 06 Rose Bowl is going to roll because
It's got
if
to.
you remember seeing that, if you watched it live, if you've even watched the highlights, Texas USC 06, you know it's one of the most exciting college football games of all time.
It's
Lots of star power. It came down to the final play with one of the best college players of all time, as far as that goes. Vince Young taking it around the right and into the end zone, taking matters into his own hands.
and basically took the crystal ball home all the way to Austin, Texas himself, man. As great, as entertaining as Week 13.
When I think back on that, though, how crazy is it that Houston passed up Vince Young, though, to go with Mario Williams, who was solid?
Was O'Brien on that staff by any chance?
No, he wasn't. But it's just when you think back, like, who was their quarterback at that time? That they were so
Schaub.
convinced.
Matt Schaub.
I don't even know if it was that time or not. It's close.
I think it was Schaub or Derek Carr. It's one of those two.
But Vince Young being such a local guy, and you pass on him. And you also pass on Reggie Bush.
Every fan in the state of Texas that was a Houston fan wanted Vince Young. They begged and clamored. And to me, if it wasn't going to be Vince, it was going to be Reggie Bush. It was going to be one of those two. And then the stunner, Mario Williams, no bad pun intended. Mario Williams, to me, is one, but was he worth a first overall pick? Probably not, compared to the talent that was there at the time. But to me, it was a bonehead move. You got to go with one of those spectacular playmakers. Those two were once in a generation.
Agreed.
Once in a
It'd
generation.
been hard to pass up either one of those guys if I'm on the clock and I'm Houston.
So I think we can agree the 06 Rose Bowl moves on.
Moving on.
But you want to hear the polls?
Let's hear it.
It was so grisly bad that it was probably the worst poll I gave. 71% for the Rose Bowl versus 29%.
Man.
And on average, I've ran the polls. We've done 3 to 4 polls in the last few weeks for the Bracket Busters. The Rose Bowl has consistently done averaged almost 70% on the poll. So you got to know that's the fans' favorite to win this thing, probably.
Okay.
So, it pretty interesting. So, Super Bowl 43, Music City Miracle, 07 Fiesta Bowl, and 06 Rose Bowl move on to the Final Four. So, we're getting into the good part, man. So, folks, if you're listening out there, that poll will be out this week. It'll probably come out tomorrow, to be honest with you. And I'll have that poll. And, guys, like I said, the polls got bigger this week. Thank you so much for voting. It makes it a lot funner. It makes it greater when we do it, when we have the fans involved.
It's always fun to have some participation, right?
Oh, we had some participation. Like I said, we averaged probably about 30 to 35 people this time around. So it was nice to have. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So let's move on to the power rankings. As I think these were released over the weekend.
I've not taken a look at these, Chuck, so you're going to have to break some of these down for me.
Okay. These are in order. It's Kansas City, Baltimore, San Francisco, New Orleans, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Dallas, Tennessee, and Minnesota are in your top 10.
Overall power rankings preseason.
Yeah, that's the preseason power
So
rankings.
Tennessee makes the top 10. Are you surprised there?
I think we should have been higher.
You think
so? We're playing the blank game on this. Ryan,
We're starting at the top, going down?
We'll just start number 1 and work our way down. We'll think if it's too high, too low, or just right.
I like it.
Okay. Kansas City, their ranking is what?
It's fair. They're the
perfect.
defending champions.
Yes. Yeah, I
They
mean,
got a lot of star power. Andy Reid's coming back off the championship. It's fair. The champions should be number 1 as long as they're returning a lot of talent, and they are.
I got to say this, though. Where the heck are they getting all this money to sign everybody, man? It's incredible. Like you said, they just signed Andy Reid and Veach back. Did they use some of the Royals money that Patrick Mahomes bought or something? I'm being serious.
They're using their money where they need to, though, and they're putting it into their star players.
Yeah, so I'm going to say the ranking is on point.
Okay.
You got to be on.
And Baltimore at 2, what do you think about that one?
Overrated.
Overrated?
Overrated. To me,
who would you have it 2 then? So if we're looking
San
at
Francisco.
But you'd put San Francisco up there, who was in the championship game against Kansas City.
That's what I'm saying. Put the 2 that were in the Super Bowl.
And they're both returning most of their players.
Exactly. So, in Baltimore, you've had a tumultuous situation with Earl Thomas. I'm not saying he's going to be the be-all, end-all, but you lose a key piece there, and it seems like Lamar Jackson's been getting hurt here lately. Makes you a little weary for this team. I'm going to say overrated.
They've had some opt-outs here and there, too. Where do you put Baltimore in the top 10? Because you're not going to take them out of the top 10.
I'm going to put them at 5. To me, I would put Tennessee over them because we beat them.
We did beat them. That is fair.
So, I'm going to say overrated. They're still a top 5 team, but not a top 2.
Okay.
So, San Francisco, ranking is what?
If they're at 3, I think that's fair. I think they're a top 5 team, especially with what they have on the defensive side of the ball and the way they run the football. Garoppolo did a good job of managing the game. They're going to need more out of him as far as a passer this year, though.
They do.
But, yeah, I think it's fair. Now, next, number 4, New Orleans being on this list, obviously a top 5 team. With the Kamara news, depending on where he goes, that's a big key to that offense. So they could move down depending on where he goes, but keeping them in the top 5, I think, is also legit, and I think they probably are ranked pretty fairly right at number 4.
A little overrated.
Okay.
A little overrated. I would have put Seattle up higher. I would put them in their place.
I agree with that. I like Seattle as far as that goes anyways.
Right.
And I especially like what they bring to the table this season.
Right. And it's just like with Seattle, they're at number 5. Do you think they should be ranked a little higher?
I think they belong in the top 5, and I think it'll shake itself out as the season goes. But preseason rankings, I think they're on par.
Yeah. It's just, so far they look like they are, other than the Baltimore ranking.
What about Tampa Bay being at number 6?
Too high, man.
A lot of unknowns.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, you got Brady. Yes, you got Gronk, but
do you think
they're
going to
not
get off to a
proven.
shaky start?
Yeah, I think they will. They're not proven as their team. Brady's proven and Gronk's proven to be champions, but are they proven that the team chemistry can work with Tampa Bay?
Who has a better season, Bill Belichick or Tom Brady?
Belichick.
You think Belichick and Cam Newton can get it done more so than Tom Brady and Arians?
I was looking for Cam Newton. I was looking to draft him, and he got snatched up in your league, man. I was watching him. I'm like, he's not getting picked up, and I'm in the 14th, 15th round, and I'm like, oh, man, I want to pick him up because I feel like he's going to do some special things up there with New England, especially in a system as friendly as Belichick as far as like running the football and protecting the quarterback. So, be interesting to see.
Definitely.
But yeah, I'm gonna say Tampa's a little too high. Now Green Bay is what? Their ranking.
So Green Bay coming in at 7. That doesn't seem unfair to me either. Aaron Rodgers still maybe the greatest quarterback in the game as far as just what he brings to the game week in and week out.
You got to play this though into consideration too, Ryan. They didn't get him a receiver. Devin Funchess, But I think he opted out, didn't he?
That's been a crime. Ever since a couple of years ago, where he used to have a star-studded offense, they've refused to pay anybody any money to come in there and be a legit target. for
Yeah,
Aaron
I mean,
Rodgers.
exactly. I mean, you only got Devontae Adams coming back that is a legit star. I'm going to say they need to be out of the top 10. I'm going to say they need to be out because of the fact is there's just not enough playmakers. Yes, Jones and and Adams are there, but I don't know, man. It's just I don't think it's enough, especially in an NFC North that's starting to bulk up a little bit. Dallas
Dallas at number 8. Dak Prescott, Zeke, Amari Cooper. They bring in C.D. Lamb as far as
you
the
got
young
Gallup,
receiver.
got Gallup too there.
A lot of good pieces there. I like Jalen Smith on the defensive side of the ball too. Dallas has a lot of talent. Dallas has a new head coach.
I think they need to be higher because it's like I said, the head coach is the difference.
And I think that team is pissed off for greatness after underachieving so much last year. I agree with you. I think Dallas could definitely be a top 5 team this season.
Well, it's just if Jason Garrett was still the coach, I definitely would have them out of the top 10.
You knew they were not going anywhere with Jason Garrett there.
Oh, I mean, you could tell it right at the end, like when he was trying to clap on the field, like good job, and none of his players were. You could just see the tension that this is not going to work, and he should have been fired 2-3 years ago. Ryan
Agreed.
To me, I think he robbed the Cowboys of a couple of championships already.
It was the Cowboys' fault for keeping him around.
I mean, it was Jerry Jones' fault for that to happen. I'm sure there was players that were ready to say, you need to cut ties with this guy because he doesn't know what he's doing, man. I mean, one playoff win. One in his tenure. Now you get McCarthy coming in, Super Bowl champion, can prove to build an offense. It's a way bigger upgrade than Garrett's.
I agree with that.
Way bigger. So that's on that alone.
Well, he's going to bring a different style of football altogether, I feel like, to that
So are
team.
we going to see like a air raid kind of offense like what we saw when he was in Green Bay with like Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and
I definitely think that we're going to see them pass the ball more.
oh yeah, but you can't forget about that the beast in the backfield with him too, man.
It's one of the best running backs he's ever had the pleasure to work with.
Well, apparently the NFL thinks he's the best of all athletes out there. He's like number 1 in the NFL top 100.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, he made number 1.
Wow, he's pretty athletic. I
Over
mean, he's a
Patrick
stud. I
Mahomes,
just don't know, but I would put him over Patrick Mahomes as far as athleticism. I think Saquon Barkley's got to give him a run for his money and give Derrick Henry some credit too, man.
I think he made like
Pound
ninth.
for pound athlete. How the hell can you give him credit over Derrick Henry?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Derrick Henry made 9th.
Where was Tyreek Hill on that list?
I think he was top 5.
Had to be, right?
I think so.
Speedster.
I think so. I have to look at it, but I know Zeke was number 1, and our dude, the King, was 9th.
Oh, man. Imagine, like, in his heyday, Terrell Owens was probably one of the top guys on that list. You ever see, like, the workout videos that dude ever put together?
Dude, man, even when he got sent home by Andy Reid, he still put
Even now,
push-ups,
dude, you
know?
see, he looks like he could still go out there and play.
Yeah, he recently had a race with one of the NFL players. Who was it? Was it Tyreek?
I don't even know. Maybe. I know he's always hanging out with
I mean,
Ocho Cinco and all those guys.
I mean, at first on the start, he was keeping up with him, and then I forget. I want to say it's Tyreek Hill just smoked him after that. But of course, Tyreek Hill's on another level with his speed.
He got beat though. He was at a high school scrimmage or practice or something.
yeah.
And he got mossed by a young kid.
Yeah, it was like he just snatched it right out of his hands, and Tyreek was like, okay.
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 Gave him some respect, right?
Speaking of 9th, me and you are going to give you our opinion on it because it's our boys. The Titans are ranked 9th according to ESPN Power Rankings. They're ranked 9th. Ryan, what do you think about that ranking?
I'm happy with it. You know what? That's as much respect as I could hope for the Titans coming in. And, you know, there's a lot of consistency from last year where we were, maybe you could say a couple plays away from being in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Right? A hell of a season after rebounding from a pretty rough start to the season. Changed quarterbacks midway. You ship out our franchise quarterback. Now Tannehill's leading the way. With that being said, 9th, maybe they're being too generous. I don't know if I feel nasty saying something like that.
So you feel
But I
like,
almost feel like it could be bad juju for them to be giving us so much credit so early.
okay, that's where I was going to get with that one too. I'm with you on that one. Because I feel like,
Is that blasphemy for me to say that?
no, it's not. Because I think if you give too much spotlight and expectations for a team and they let down, they become a bust. They become a failure.
I've
To
kind of
me-
been a Debbie Downer recently, the way I've been thinking about this Titans season, too.
No,
I just
no,
think
no.
I'm trying not to have a letdown. You saw Nate Davis had a little shake-up today. I don't think it was anything serious. We have a young right tackle going to be coming into play. Hopefully that offensive line can figure things out.
Right.
I'm skeptic. Chuck, talk me into why this Titans team is going to be better than we were last year.
Well, number one, we've really improved the needs. First of all, I think our secondary is going to be as better as we've ever seen it. I like the Fulton kid out
We
of
got
LSU.
Jonathan Joseph, but we lose Logan Ryan.
But we gained Fulton. That's going to be the key.
You think the young kid's going to come in and contribute early?
Absolutely, and he won't have the pressure to doing it on day one. Like you said, you got Joseph, we got Vaccaro back there, and Bayer. You know what them dudes are going to bring to the table. Our defense is going to probably be as tenacious as we've ever seen it. I really feel it, man. Just watching some of the stuff on highlights on YouTube of camp. Reading some of the tweets, reading some of the highlights of them, dude, I feel like our defense is really going to be turning heads.
I'm hoping that the pass rush can turn it up a notch, because if we can get that pass rush and get after these quarterbacks a little bit quicker and make them hurry up as far as what they're doing and not give them a clear vision of the field, it's pretty easy to say, but they could go a long way in this defense just taking it up one more level.
And another thing, I think we have one of the most underrated linebacking cores in the league.
I could agree with that.
Jalen-
Young guys.
Jalen Brown, I mean, good. Oh, man, I love that guy.
Harold Landry out there, too.
Harold Landry's hunting heads and quarterbacks down there, man. And you got Rashad Evans, the second, man. I mean, and also adding Will Compton back. I mean, I'm sure there's another guy there, but still, those names alone right there, it's a pretty solid group.
I like what we have as far as the talent coming out there. And I like Simmons up front as far as that goes. Still, we're going to miss Casey. You're going to get tired of hearing me say that, but
We're going
I
to
hope
miss
to see
him.
good things out of him in Denver, but I expect big things out of Jeffrey Simmons up front for the Titans
I
this
am
year.
big on him. I've been saying this guy is going to be like another Aaron Donald. This dude is, it's like I said, at Mississippi State before he got hurt, he was unblockable. Same thing with Aaron Donald.
He showed some glimpses of that last season.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Baltimore game, that's why Casey had such a good game, because they were squaring up on Simmons the entire time. They had to put a guard and center on him almost the entire game, and it opened up the lanes for linebackers, Casey to make plays, Correa to make plays. I mean, it's just, there was plays to be had, and to me, Simmons is going to be the key of that front. And I think we need to bulk up just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Maybe Clowney?
I'm still hopeful.
I'm not holding my breath. But our offensive line mostly returns. We're going to be minus Conklin, but we got Isaiah Wilson. And, of course,
Do you think we can expect much out of him his rookie year? We're going to be the team looks like they're going to be depending on him to play right tackle.
Exactly. I am. I'm expecting a lot out of this guy.
There's a lot
but,
to ask to play right tackle in the NFL as a rookie.
Exactly. But if it doesn't work out for the first season, we got Dennis Kelly, and I think he's very capable. A good,
You
capable
want it to
backup.
work out, though, because going into week one, you want to be some semblance of chemistry on that offensive line.
Right. And everybody has been on the case of Ryan Tannehill. Dude, I get it. He's not going to replicate the magic he had, but consistency will be the key.
I hope so. I hope that Tannehill comes out here and lights it up.
I feel like this is the best receiving core we've ever had coming to Tennessee.
I like what we have.
A.J. Brown, everybody's high on A.J. Makes me a little worried because I kind of like playing that under-the-radar guy. But give where credit was due. When Tannehill got in, A.J. Brown hello world, he came out to ball.
I like what we saw out of A.J. Brown's rookie year. I want to get high on A.J., inject that into my veins.
Exactly. That works perfectly.
I want to go in with great expectations in the receiver position as a Titans fan. I think Corey Davis, he doesn't have anywhere to go but up as far as his trajectory goes with his statistics offensively, but I think we'll see elite from him this year.
And you look at Corey Davis, that's another guy that's going to really be wanting to prove whether he plays for us next year or not. He's playing for his NFL life, man, at this point.
His life with the Titans, anyways.
Well, I mean, in his life as an NFLer in general, because he was a top 10 pick. Kind of not, I mean, he's made some plays. He's flashed some greatness a little bit. Good blocking receiver when we needed him. But now it's going to be the spotlight on him because everybody's going to be eyeing A.J. Brown. He's going to have to make some plays. And also with Adam Humphries, that cat's got to step up.
I like seeing him come out of the slot, too, a sure-handed receiver.
Oh, what's that other receiver's name that made a big play?
Khalif Raymond.
That dude is nothing but pure speed.
I hope he keeps progressing. I hope to see him do more this year.
He showed some flashes in camp of his deep routes in the slot. He could be one to watch out
Keep some
for.
defenses honest.
Yeah, and also my biggest one I'm high on, Gianno Smith. I drafted him in your league. I waited. I even passed on some good tight end prospects because I am really hyped on this guy. I feel like he's going to have a big year. I'm really putting my chips in with this guy because for so long I've watched Gianno Smith grow. And especially last year, the butt catch. That was one of the great plays. You remember the Dallas game where he catches one on the middle and just turns on the burners. Goes to the house for like 70-something yards for a touchdown for a freaking tight end, man.
He's athletic.
That's what I'm saying. He's got the tangibles to be a outstanding tight end. I really want him to ball out this year.
He's got big shoes to fill where Walker leaves the team, but I do expect big things out of Johnny Smith.
Yes, absolutely. And, of course, we know what Mr. King will bring to the backfield. Watch out for Evans back there, the rookie running back.
He's been absent from camp, from what I understand. I saw Paul Kaharski tweeted something out earlier today. I hate to bring up old PK, but he was mentioning that he's not been at camp. I didn't read real far into it as far as why he's not been there, but you don't like to see him missing time already.
Well, yeah, especially when you're a rookie. But it just seems like, I just feel like it's Henry's to lose from here on in. Obviously, we just paid the dude.
His job's pretty secure. I hope to see big things out of him.
Well,
now, rounding out this list, though, because we have got sidetracked with the Titans, which is not going to be uncommon.
We got higher than our homeboys, man.
The Minnesota Vikings at number 10. Chuck, what are your thoughts there?
With the Nagoku trade, I'd say they need to be higher. That trade alone has just bulked up their pass rush.
Is that where he went? Did they pull that off?
They pulled that off, man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they went to Njoku.
From the Cleveland Browns.
No, the defensive end from.
Oh, correct.
Yeah, he's
you're talking about the defensive lineman from Jacksonville.
Yeah,
it's not Njoku,
but anyways,
Chuckism, no big deal. I feel you. We're on the same page.
But he bulks up that defensive line.
They
again.
lose Stephon Diggs, one of the biggest offensive weapons they have. They've got Dalvin Cook back. They've got Thielen.
Mm-hmm.
They've also got. Let's see, who is the tight end Rudolph there?
Yeah, they got
Still
Kyle
good.
Rudolph. They got Kyle. I feel like Kyle is going to step up.
Yeah, the Smith Jr. kid also the tight end there, who you may see.
Ian Smith Jr.
Take a step up. But we'll see. I don't know as far as what we can expect out of the Minnesota offense. I think defensively, again, they're going to be good. But you think they belong in the top 10?
I think they do. I think they're one of the serious contenders to dethrone the Packers.
Kirk Cousins doesn't worry you at all?
Well, I was saying if Cousins can get his passes down a little bit, then yeah, they should be fine. But as long as you keep Cook healthy and happy, I think this team's a serious contender.
Agreed. That offense will go just as far as Dalvin Cook will take them.
I mean, that man, Cook, man, he's so fun to watch. What a back.
What a back.
But here's the thing. There's been a lot of backs here lately that have stepped up. So, one team I did not see on there, New England. So, are they automatically not a top 10 team without Brady?
I think that's pretty fair, right?
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
They're going to definitely make noise. I expect them to be in the playoff picture for sure, but you can't count out Belichick.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, yes, losing Brady is a big key for that team, but they still got Cam Newton. They still got majority of their receivers, running backs, defenses returned I mean, they did lose a couple pieces in Collins and Roy Vanoy there. They lost him, but I feel like they still needed a top 10 ranking. Another team, the Buffalo Bills, didn't make it on there. That was a playoff.
I don't think they belong.
Houston Texans?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think of another team on there.
So the Rams, they're not on there. I think some people could argue that they could be up there. As far
Rams,
as that goes.
Rams.
What about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, that's a good one. Pittsburgh Steelers should have been on there.
With Big Ben coming back, I think that they're poised to make a pretty good run this year.
So, I mean, we're not saying that the top 10 team is perfect. This is perfect.
But we agree with most of it.
I do. I mean, for the most part, I think Baltimore needs to be ranked a little bit lower. Dallas and Minnesota may be ranked a little bit higher.
Okay.
But impressive.
We're getting close to NFL action, though.
Yes. I'm so excited.
We're getting close. I'm chomping at the bit. I'm hoping everything can go according to plan as far as that goes. Chuck, you want to close us out, bud?
I sure can, man. Just want to shout out to my Jackson County Blue Devils, man. Another big win over Sales Creek, 44-26, man. Y'all keep rolling, man, and it just encourages me to see these high school sports still going, and it seems like it's going strong. As of right now, the COVID tests, I think there's only 2 players in the NFL that's on the list. Kudos there. The bubble's still 0. NHL bubble's still 0. So, I mean, it seems like sports is finally kind of like not totally getting a grasp on it, but they're finding a way to control it, to control the madness, the chaos of it.
We've got a lot more right now than I thought we would at this point
happy.
A couple months ago, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. Let's just hope that it can continue, and I'm going to enjoy watching these NBA playoffs, watching the NFL get kicked off.
Yes, sir.
Some NCAA football coming up at the end of this month. Also, the golf action's been exciting, too. I'm going to continue watching those tournaments, and look, we're sports junkies. That's what we do.
That's what we do, man. We get on our computers, we get on our TVs, we check it out, we watch it. And I just want to highlight our followers, man. We know you're out there. We know you follow us. Vote on our stuff on Facebook. If you haven't followed us on Facebook, give us a follow. If you know anybody that wants to get into some good material, some good funny talk with some just 2 guys shooting the bull about sports, share our page on Facebook. Let them follow our stuff. We post our stuff on there all the time. Ryan's got a Twitter account. I'm eventually going to get on there.
You keep saying that, Chuck.
I'm just the bad boy Twitter, I guess.
He's the bad boy. Unverified, blocked Twitter user.
I want that blue check. I just need to put the bad boy Twitter.
They gave you the red check right now, Chuck.
Should I be proud?
They gave you the yellow card.
I think they gave me the red card because I still ain't got it back. I think I just need to take a hint and just go on. But guys, like I said, thank you so much for following our material that we're doing. It's just 2 guys having fun talking sports, right, Ryan?
That's right. I don't think I can say it any better than that. For the Run and Shoot podcast, I'm Ryan.
I'm Chuck.
Till next time.